The dark side of SAP projects. No one talks about this. Part 1. Why SAP projects look perfect on paper, but fail in reality. 1. The illusion of the perfect SAP project. Every SAP project starts the same way. Clean slides, clear timelines, confident promises. On paper, everything looks perfect. Scope is defined, milestones are clear, risks look manageable. From the outside, SAP projects look structured and controlled, but reality is very different. 2. Why SAP projects are designed for an ideal world. Most SAP project plans are built for an ideal scenario. They assume business knows exactly what it wants, users agree with each other, data is clean, decisions are fast. But real companies don't work like this. SAP projects enter environments full of unclear processes, internal conflicts, outdated data, political decisions. The project plan doesn't fail because it's wrong. It fails because reality is messier than the plan allows. 3. The first crack. We'll figure it out later. One sentence silently destroys many SAP projects. We'll figure it out later. Later becomes testing phase, go live week, production issues. What was postponed? Unclear ownership, missing decisions, process gaps comes back under pressure. SAP doesn't forgive uncertainty, it exposes it. 4. Why SAP gets blamed. First, when things go wrong, SAP is blamed. People say SAP is too complex. The system doesn't work. SAP slowed us down, but most failures are not technical. They come from poor decisions, missing ownership, unrealistic expectations. SAP simply makes problems visible. It doesn't create them. 5. The gap between business expectations and reality. Business often expects SAP to fix broken processes, enforce discipline, solve organizational issues. SAP cannot do this alone. Without aligned stakeholders, clear ownership, realistic timelines, SAP becomes the messenger of bad news, and messengers rarely get thanked. 6. Why this reality is never shown in demos. SAP demos show clean data, perfect flows, ideal scenarios. Real projects deal with exceptions, manual workarounds, historical mess. The gap between demo and reality creates frustration, not because SAP lies, but because complexity is hidden. 7. The truth consultants learn the hard way. Experienced consultants learn one thing quickly. SAP projects don't fail suddenly. They fail slowly. Decisions are delayed, risks are ignored, pressure accumulates. Then one day, during testing, during go live, everything collapses at once. From the outside, it looks like a system failure. From the inside, it's a long chain of ignored reality. 8. Why understanding? This changes everything. Once you understand this dark side, you stop trusting slides blindly. You ask better questions. You manage expectations earlier. This awareness doesn't make SAP projects easy. It makes them survivable. Transition to Part 2. In Part 2, we'll go deeper into this pressure cooker. User pressure, unrealistic deadlines, and silent chaos. This is where most SAP projects actually break. Part 2. User pressure, unrealistic deadlines, and silent chaos 1. Where SAP projects really start to crack. Most SAP projects don't break in design. They break when users enter the picture. Not because users are bad, but because expectations collide with reality. This is where silent chaos begins. 2. The myth. Users know what they want. One of the biggest assumptions in SAP projects is this: users know their processes. In reality, processes evolved informally. Exceptions became normal. Documentation is outdated or missing. Users often discover their own process during the SAP project. This discovery phase creates confusion, frustration, and resistance. 3. Why deadlines become unrealistic. Overnight project timelines are usually fixed early. Management commits, budgets are approved, go-live dates are announced, then reality hits. Users request changes late, rethink decisions, disagree internally but deadlines don't move. Pressure increases, and pressure changes behavior. 4. How pressure creates bad decisions. Under pressure, risks are ignored, testing is shortened, decisions are rushed. People say, let's just go live. We'll fix it later. SAP remembers everything. What you postpone today returns tomorrow, multiplied. 5. The silent chaos. Nobody sees from the outside the project looks under control. Inside, emails escalate, meetings multiply. Blame quietly shifts, consultants absorb pressure. Users feel unheard, managers push harder. Everyone feels busy. Few feel aligned. This is silent chaos. 6. Why SAP consultants take the hit. When chaos becomes visible, consultants are blamed. Why? Because consultants represent the system, deliver the solution, stand between business and IT, even when problems come from unclear ownership, delayed decisions, internal conflicts. SAP consultants become the face of frustration. 7. The emotional cost of constant pressure. Continuous pressure creates stress, exhaustion, self-doubt. Many consultants internalize this. Maybe I'm not good enough. This is dangerous. The problem is rarely competence. It's environment and expectation mismatch. 8. Why? This phase breaks many careers. This is the phase where juniors quit, mid-level consultants burn out, seniors become cynical. Not because SAP is impossible, but because pressure is unmanaged. Those who survive learn one critical skill: expectation management. 9. The first survival lesson. Experienced consultants learn to surface risks early, slow things down when needed, communicate impact clearly. They don't fight pressure with effort. They fight it with clarity. This is the first step to surviving SAP projects long-term. Transition to Part 3. In Part 3, we'll go to the most intense moment of all, the go-live nights. Nobody warns you about. This is where everything is tested, systems and people. Part 3. The go-live nights. Nobody warns you about one. The moment. Everything becomes real. Nothing in an SAP project compares to go-live. All plans, slides, and assumptions disappear. What remains? The system, the data, the people. This is the moment where SAP stops being a project and becomes the business. 2. Why go-live nights are different. During go-live, there is no rollback button. There is no "we'll fix it later." There is no perfect answer. Decisions must be made fast, with incomplete information, under pressure. This is where experience matters more than theory. 3. The reality of long nights. Go-live nights often mean late hours, constant calls, urgent issues. What people don't see: mental exhaustion, emotional stress, fear of breaking production. Consultants stay alert not because they want to, but because failure has real consequences. 4. Why small issues feel huge. At Go Live, small issues feel catastrophic. Why? Because users are watching, business is on hold, trust is fragile. A simple error message can stop an entire process. Pressure amplifies everything. 5. The blame game begins. When issues appear, fingers point, responsibility shifts, tempers rise. SAP is blamed. Consultants are questioned. Users panic. Rarely does anyone say, "This decision was delayed months ago," but that is usually the truth. 6. What Go Live teaches consultants. Fast go live teaches lessons no course can. Consultants learn how systems behave under stress, how people behave under pressure, how important preparation really is. After one go live, confidence changes, perspective shifts. You stop trusting assumptions. You start trusting preparation. 7. Why? Some consultants burn out at go live. Not everyone survives go live emotionally. Reasons include lack of support, unclear responsibility, unrealistic expectations. Burnout happens when pressure is constant, appreciation is missing, recovery time is ignored. This is not weakness, it's human. 8. The unspoken rule of SAP projects. There is an unspoken rule. If you survive go live, you level up. Consultants who go through go live gain credibility, gain respect, gain confidence. It's a harsh rite of passage, but a real one. 9. The question. Nobody asks after go live. One question remains. How do we prevent this next time? Too often, projects move on without reflection. Lessons are lost. Patterns repeat. This is why the dark side never disappears. Transition to Part 4. In Part 4, we'll uncover another uncomfortable truth. Why SAP is blamed for human mistakes. This is where frustration turns into misunderstanding. Part 4. Why SAP is blamed for human mistakes. 1. The pattern you see in almost every SAP project. When something goes wrong, the reaction is almost automatic. SAP caused the problem. This sentence appears in meetings, emails, escalation calls. It sounds logical. SAP is the system. The system failed. But in reality, SAP is rarely the root cause. 2. SAP as the messenger, not the problem. SAP does not create processes. SAP enforces them. Before SAP, people improvise, rules are flexible, mistakes are hidden. After SAP, rules are explicit, errors are visible, inconsistencies surface. SAP doesn't break processes. It exposes broken ones. Messengers are rarely liked. 3. Human decisions that SAP makes visible. Most SAP issues trace back to unclear ownership, delayed decisions, missing alignment. Examples. Pricing rules never agreed. SAP blocks billing. Approval logic undefined. Documents get stuck. Master data ownership unclear. Reporting breaks. SAP simply applies logic consistently. Humans don't. 4. Why people prefer blaming the system. Blaming SAP feels safe. It avoids personal responsibility, protects internal politics, simplifies complex problems. Saying SAP is too rigid is easier than saying, we never agreed on this process. Systems can't argue back. People can. 5. The consultant's unfair position. Consultants sit in the middle. Between business and IT. Between decisions and consequences. They implement what was approved. Raise risks that were ignored. Deliver under constraints. When problems appear, consultants are visible. The original decisions are not. This creates frustration on both sides. 6. The cost of misplaced blame. When SAP is blamed incorrectly. Root causes are not fixed. The same issues repeat. Trust erodes. Teams start working around the system. Manual workarounds. Shadow processes. Excel fixes. This increases complexity and risk. The system is blamed again. The cycle continues. 7. Why this happens in all modules. This pattern is not module specific. It happens in FI during closing, MM during procurement, SD during pricing, HR during payroll. Different modules, same human behaviors. SAP is consistent. People are not. 8. What experienced consultants do differently. Experienced consultants learn to document decisions clearly, confirm ownership explicitly, communicate consequences early. They don't say, this is how SAP works. They say, "This is the consequence of this decision." This reframing changes conversations. Slowly, blame shifts to understanding. 9. The emotional toll of constant blame. Being blamed repeatedly affects consultants. It leads to defensiveness, disengagement, burnout. Many consultants leave SAP not because of the system, but because of the constant misdirected blame. Understanding this helps separate personal value from project frustration. 10. The hard truth. SAP projects don't fail because SAP is bad. They fail because organizations avoid hard decisions, responsibility is unclear, reality is postponed. SAP just makes postponement impossible. Transition to Part 5. In Part 5, we'll talk about something rarely addressed openly. Consultant burnout is not a personal failure. This is where the dark side becomes personal. Part 5. Consultant burnout is not a personal failure. 1. The burnout. Nobody warns you about burnout in SAP doesn't arrive suddenly. It builds slowly. Constant urgency, endless meetings, unclear priorities. At first you feel tired, then frustrated, then detached. Most consultants don't realize what's happening until motivation disappears. 2. Why SAP consultants burn out faster than others. SAP projects combine 3 pressure sources: technical complexity, business urgency, human conflict. Consultants are expected to solve problems, manage expectations, stay calm under pressure. This combination drains energy faster than pure technical roles. Burnout here is structural, not personal. 3. The dangerous thought pattern. Burned out consultants often think, maybe I'm not good enough. This is the most harmful assumption. In reality, expectations were unrealistic. Responsibility was unclear. Support was missing. Competent people burn out when systems demand more than humans can sustainably give. 4. Why saying yes leads to burnout. Many consultants burn out because they say yes to everything. Extra scope, late changes, unrealistic timelines. They do this to prove value, avoid conflict, protect the project, but unlimited yes creates invisible overload. Burnout is often unmanaged responsibility, not laziness. 5. The role of appreciation, or lack of it. SAP consultants rarely receive immediate appreciation. When things work, it's expected. When things break, it's visible. This imbalance slowly erodes motivation. People can handle pressure. They struggle with pressure without recognition. 6. How burnout changes. Behavior. Burnout doesn't always look dramatic. It shows up as reduced initiative, emotional distance, cynicism, doing the minimum. Many consultants mistake this for losing passion. In reality, it's self-protection. 7. Why leaving SAP is often the wrong conclusion. Some consultants conclude SAP is not for me. Sometimes that's true, often it's not. The problem is not SAP, it's how projects are run and how responsibility is distributed. Changing environment or boundaries often fixes burnout faster than changing careers. 8. What experienced consultants learn. Experienced consultants don't avoid pressure. They manage it by setting boundaries, clarifying ownership, escalating risks early, protecting recovery time. They understand sustainability beats heroics. This mindset keeps them in the field long term. 9. The first step to recovery. The first step out of burnout is clarity. What am I responsible for? What am I not responsible for? Once boundaries are visible, stress decreases, control returns, confidence rebuilds. Burnout fades when responsibility becomes manageable. 10. The key truth. Burnout in SAP is not a weakness, it's a signal. Expectations are broken. Systems are overloaded. Humans are compensating. Ignoring the signal worsens it. Understanding it restores balance. Transition to Part 6. In Part 6, we'll talk about something even more uncomfortable: politics, power, and decisions behind SAP projects. This is where many projects are actually won or lost. Part 6. Politics, power, and decisions behind SAP projects. 1. The part of SAP projects. Nobody puts on slides. Every SAP project has two layers: the visible layer, processes, systems, timelines; the invisible layer, politics, power dynamics, personal agendas. Most project failures happen in the invisible layer. 2. Why SAP projects are political by nature. SAP touches money, authority, control when SAP is implemented. Some people lose flexibility, some gain visibility, some lose informal power. Resistance is rarely about SAP, it's about what SAP changes. 3. Decision makers versus system users. A common tension exists. Decision makers approve SAP, users live with SAP decision makers want. Speed, reports, control users want. Flexibility, minimal disruption. Comfort, SAP sits in the middle. When these expectations clash, projects stall. 4. How power delays decisions. Many SAP decisions are delayed not because they're hard, but because they shift responsibility. Examples: who owns master data? Who approves exceptions? Who is accountable for errors? Avoiding these decisions feels safer short term, but SAP forces them eventually, usually under pressure. 5. Why yes is the most political answer. In political environments, yes avoids conflict. Later avoids accountability. Consultants hear, yes, we agree. But agreement without ownership means nothing. Real alignment requires named owners, written decisions, clear consequences. Without these, SAP becomes the battlefield. 6. The consultant's political tightrope. Consultants must respect hierarchy, surface risks, avoid direct confrontation. This is a difficult balance. Speaking too softly, risks are ignored. Speaking too directly, relationships break. Experienced consultants learn to frame risks neutrally, link issues to business impact, let consequences speak. Politics require precision, not silence. 7. When power overrides logic. In SAP projects, logic doesn't always win. Sometimes, senior authority overrides process. Short-term optics override long-term stability. Deadlines override readiness. When this happens, consultants document, systems comply, consequences follow. SAP executes decisions faithfully, even bad ones. 8. Why this makes projects. Emotionally heavy politics add emotional weight. Consultants feel frustration, helplessness, moral conflict. They see problems coming but lack authority to stop them. This emotional load contributes to burnout more than technical difficulty. 9. What senior consultants learn. Senior consultants accept one truth: you can influence politics, not eliminate them. They focus on clarity, documentation, expectation management. They don't fight power directly, they manage its impact. 10. The key insight. SAP projects succeed technically when they are managed politically. Ignoring politics doesn't make them disappear, it makes them destructive. Transition to Part 7, Final. In Part 7, we'll close this series with something practical: how to survive SAP projects without losing yourself. This is about protection, not avoidance. Part 7, how to survive SAP projects without losing yourself. 1. Survival is not about avoiding SAP projects. The goal is not to avoid SAP projects. That's impossible if you want to grow. The real goal is surviving SAP projects without losing your energy, confidence, or identity. Many consultants don't fail technically, they disappear emotionally. This part is about preventing that. 2. Separate your value from the project chaos. One of the most important mental shifts is this: the project outcome is not your personal worth. SAP projects fail for many reasons: politics, bad decisions, unrealistic deadlines. Not all of them are under your control. When you attach your self-worth to every issue, burnout becomes inevitable. Professional distance is not indifference, it's protection. 3. Control what you can, document the rest you can't control. Final decisions, political pressure, organizational chaos, you can control. How you communicate, how you document, how you escalate risks. Experienced consultants survive by documenting decisions, confirming ownership, making risks visible. Documentation is not bureaucracy, it's self-defense. 4. Learn to say this is a risk. Early, many consultants try to be heroes. They absorb problems silently. This feels responsible, but it's dangerous. Survivors learn to say, this is a risk if we proceed like this. Early, calmly, clearly. Raising risks early reduces pressure later, protects credibility, prevents personal overload. Silence creates explosions. Clarity creates options. 5. Build micro-boundaries, not walls. You don't need extreme boundaries, you need micro-boundaries. Clear scope ownership, realistic availability, recovery time after peaks. Without boundaries, urgency never ends. Pressure becomes constant. With boundaries, energy returns. Focus improves, motivation stabilizes. Long-term consultants are not tougher, they are better protected. 6. Choose growth, not constant firefighting. Firefighting feels important, but constant firefighting prevents learning, destroys motivation, stalls careers. Whenever possible, choose structured responsibility, clear ownership, sustainable roles. Growth comes from building, not just fixing. 7. Remember why SAP is still worth it. After all this, one question remains. Is SAP still worth it? For many, the answer is yes, because SAP offers long-term relevance, global opportunities, career flexibility, professional leverage, but only if you survive the dark side. 8. The final truth about SAP careers. SAP careers are not easy, but they are forgiving to those who learn. They reward patience, clarity, responsibility, resilience. Those who stay long enough and protect themselves wisely eventually gain control. 9. Final takeaway. The dark side of SAP projects is real. Ignoring it burns people out. Understanding it builds professionals. You don't survive SAP by being tougher. You survive by being aware, prepared, and protected.